Hi, I'm Rain.
And I'm Katie.
And together we're Wicked Rain Studio.
So today we're going to be talking about mold making. So Rain and I do a lot of mold making for our resin necklaces. Everything that we make, I sculpt originally out of clay, and then we make a mold out of silicone so that we can pour our resin into them, make them into resin necklaces.
We always use the Smooth On brand for all of our mold making. It's practically the industry standard.
Yeah, it's really popular amongst mold makers and cosplay artists, theater artists.
Film and theater use it a lot as well. But the thing about Smooth On is they have a huge line of I think 25 different types or more. I don't know the exact number.
Products.
Multiple silicone products, and they're all good for slightly different things. And so we did an experiment to figure out which kind of product of theirs works best for what we need. And we're trying 3 different ones out today.
Yep. By the way, this video is not sponsored by Smooth On.
No.
But if they want to sponsor us.
We just really like their product. We use a vacuum or degassing chamber with our molds to help make sure we have as few bubbles as possible. We start by creating a container to hold the liquid silicone as it sets. There are a few methods to do this, but we like to use a large circle cookie cutter with packing tape at the bottom to hold the original sculpt in place. If you don't have a cookie cutter that is the right size, you can also use cardboard to create the walls of the container. Then we use hot glue to seal the edge of the ring to the tape. Make sure the hot glue is a really solid band, otherwise your silicone will leak out from the bottom as happened here. The first silicone we're using for this video is Smooth On's OOMOO 25. It's a 2-part silicone with a ratio of 1:1 by volume. This means we'll pour part A into one cup, up to a line, and then match that in the second cup with part B. Then we need to mix the 2 parts together. I like to take the part that is more liquidy and pour it into the thicker part. This just makes sure that you get all of the stuff from the bottom of the first cup into the second. Then thoroughly mix both parts together. This version of the silicone, the OOMOO, is very thick. It's tricky to mix it together well. I'm also concerned because it's a faster acting silicone and I'm worried about it setting too quickly. Place the cup of mixed silicone into the vacuum chamber. Depressurize the chamber until your gauge reads 25 to 30. The vacuum chamber will cause the silicone to appear to boil as it pulls the bubbles up from the inside. This will also cause the silicone to rise up in the cup. Keep the cup in the vacuum chamber until the bubbles have started to slow down. This is usually about 1 to 2 minutes. This silicone is very thick, and so the vacuum chamber is not pulling out all of the air. The final bubbles will not pop until you have released the pressure on the vacuum chamber. Pour your silicone on the sculpt. It is best to pour into the deepest part, allowing the silicone to grow up around the item. As you can see, there are still bubbles in this mold, and so we need to put it back into the vacuum chamber. Follow the same steps as before with the chamber. Keep the mold in the chamber until the bubbles have slowed down. This removes all the air that has been trapped as we poured the silicone over our sculpt. With this silicone, I decided to release the pressure and re-vacuum the chamber. I was trying to get all of the bubbles to pop as I did so. This is a completed mold made from the same OOMOO silicone. As you can see, I had a hard time properly mixing the silicone, and here is a section where I was unsuccessful. The silicone in this section did not set up. This thicker silicone also had a hard time degassing in the vacuum chamber. I had 2 molds with bubbles next to my sculpts, which makes those molds unusable. It's safe to say that I am not a fan of the OOMOO silicone. The next silicone we're going to try is Smooth On's MOLDSTAR 30. I can already tell that I'm going to like this one more. The silicone is much more liquidy. Once again, this is a 2-part silicone with a ratio of 1:1. I find it much easier to mix this silicone together properly. We will follow the same steps as before with degassing the mixed silicone inside the cup first before pouring it into the molds. As you can see, this silicone is much more enthusiastic about removing its bubbles. Look how smooth this silicone is after degassing. Now we pour the silicone over the sculpts and put them into the vacuum chamber to really make a clean mold. I tried to push the limit of the vacuum chamber and make 3 molds at once. At first, everything looked great. The silicone is degassing beautifully. Unfortunately, when I went to release the valve on the chamber, I realized that one of my molds was sitting just underneath that valve. As I let all the air back into the chamber, it blew directly onto that mold, which wasn't happy about it. I re-vacuumed just that mold after removing the other 2. Here's a look at the finished mold. I like the level of detail this silicone is able to capture in the mold, but I worry about the longevity of the silicone. It's a little fragile and may tear over time. The last silicone we're trying is Smooth-On's MOLDSTAR 15 Slow. I don't have any footage of me mixing this in the cup, but out of the bottle it's a tiny bit thicker than the MOLDSTAR 30, but nowhere near as thick as the OOMOO. I think this one is my favorite so far. In the cup, the MOLDSTAR 15 Slow behaves very similarly to the MOLDSTAR 30. As you can see, it has no problems degassing. After the silicone has set, I can confirm that the MOLDSTAR 15 Slow is my favorite for mold making. It's thin enough when liquid to easily degas, but thick enough when set to last.
And those were our tests of the different kinds of silicone.
Thanks for watching! Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next video, which is going to be about making a 3-dimensional silicone mold.
And check out some of our other videos while you're here.
Bye!
Bye!